Good morning, I'm Kate, and I'm going to do a series of videos for you to think about how and practice how to adapt ballet so that it works for you and your body and where you are in life. This is particularly oriented toward people who are starting to learn ballet in their 40s and beyond, but also for people like me who did ballet when we were younger and our lives and our bodies are changing as we age. And it also works for anybody who wants to adapt ballet so that it works for you. So the first thing that we're going to think about is making your body into a sculpture. So ballet is an art, and our bodies are the material that we use to create our art. So when you learn a ballet pose or practice a ballet pose, you want to make it so that it looks beautiful and so that you feel beautiful doing it. So let's practice a couple simple poses, and we'll find ways to make them work for you. So we'll do one where we just keep our feet together. Really simple. We're just standing up straight, chest high, feet grounded, breathing, looking straight forward. And you'll see that I'm facing a little bit away from the camera. So you can do this with me also in front of a mirror or in front of a camera. Face yourself a little bit away, looking straight ahead. And then once you feel like you're standing up nice and straight, then we're going to turn our head to the camera. And then we'll pull our shoulders back, lift our chest a little bit, and tilt our head back. So this is our first pose. What I want you to think about is, first, how this feels for you. What parts of it feel easy? What parts of it feel difficult? And then we'll make some shifts. We'll shift a little bit based on what works well for you, what doesn't work well for you. So we might, for example, if it's hard to stand in this position, you might open your legs a little bit, stand with your feet hip width apart. If it's hard for you to tilt your head back in this direction, you might decrease the tilt a little bit, or we might switch to the other direction and do it on the other side. Play with it a little bit until you find a pose that feels powerful, that feels like you can do it with ease. Now, if this feels like you want to do a little bit more, then we can do things with our hands like I've been doing anyways. Instead of just holding your hands like this, you can lift your arms, present to the audience a little bit. You can look out over one hand. So play around with that. And again, right now we're focusing on poses. We're thinking of the idea of a sculpture. So you're going to find a pose and then pause. Not freeze, but pause. And breathe into it. You should feel alive. We're live sculptures. Then the next thing I want you to do once you find a pose that feels nice, that feels like it works for you, then you're going to take a picture and you're going to look at your picture and see how it looks. So now we're thinking more about the aesthetics. So we snap a photo, take a look, and see what do you like, what do you not like. Is there something that is particular, like maybe mobility in your upper body is a little bit difficult. So maybe for now, we can find a way to limit the mobility, if that's the case for you, limit the mobility in your upper body and maybe do more with your arms. So think about those questions: what looks good, what doesn't look good, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And I want you to make some notes on what adaptations you can make as we move forward. So this is a really basic pose, but whatever principles you find when you're doing this pose, you can apply to other poses later on. So later you can follow along if you're ready to move on, but we might do something more advanced like an attitude devant. And here also, if you find that you have problems with your upper body mobility, of course we can always improve and work on our mobility and our flexibility and our strength. But we also want to be able to work with what we have. So we want to find that balance. So if you find that, oh my gosh, I'm just really, really stiff and it just looks really awkward when I try to twist my body, then we can just look straight forward in our attitude devant. If you find that smiling just doesn't work for you because this is really hard, and who can smile when you're doing something really hard? We're not quite there yet maybe. Then we can look serious. Experiment with different kinds of facial expressions. So go ahead and get out a piece of paper, or you can use your device. Make a little column on what works well for you and what doesn't work well for you. And you're going to think about, as you move forward, taking different ballet classes and trying different poses and different movements, but particularly in your poses, thinking about how you can make each pose into a sculpture that works for you. One example, even when I was younger and when I was training more intensely, I found that I often would lift my chin too high because I'm short, so I was always trying to look up. And when I looked at pictures of myself, I could see that I was doing that, and I would arch my back a little bit too much also. So when you look at yourself, you can make those adjustments to make your sculpture look better for yourself, right? This is for yourself. We're doing this for our own wellness practices. So we're thinking about what makes us feel and look beautiful to ourselves.